Guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm happy to have you. To my previous subscribers, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video in particular, we're going to be talking about the month of February, specifically dated around February 16th and February 17th. We're going to see what's the astrological things that are happening, but also what can we note about Donald Trump? What is fated for Donald Trump? As you all know in a couple of my videos, as far back as October and September, I talked about February and March particularly being big months for Donald Trump, and not in the slightest way. It's big monumental month. Thing that tests the power of leadership. The thing that tests his power, whether or not he can hold on. Right? So the month of February and March indicate just that. So we're going to explore the astrology aspect of it. And then we also have somebody on Blue Sky who saw one of my posts recently, because I do updates on there about like what I post online and the videos I do and stuff like that. And she said, hey, listen, I have this psychic prediction and I've had this intuition, this feeling that Trump could possibly pass away on February 16th, which is President Day. Donald Trump was born on an eclipse. He will pass away on an eclipse, or normally eclipse means beginnings and endings. But Donald Trump began his life during an eclipse. He's likely to end his life during an eclipse. So we're going to explore that. Is that a plausibility? Is that a possibility? In no way am I negating that it's not possible. According to my readings in the past, it gave me the time frame that Donald Trump will still be alive until around April of this year. And then his health is going to start to take a turn, and he has a high chance of dying between the mid part of 2026 into 2027. But in this instance, for her prediction, she said it a lot earlier. We're going to explore that, and we're going to talk about that in today's video. So this video is being recorded on Thursday, January the 29th at 12:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as to when I'm recording this specific video. This video is just for entertainment and educational purposes only as well. I'm not a medical practitioner, nor do I claim to be, so just want to keep that in mind. And if you want to help out the channel, you can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, hitting the bell icon, engaging with the content, sharing this video with others really help boost the algorithm here on the YouTube channel. And for those of you guys who were saying, Chris, why don't you turn on the hype button? I want to make sure I openly disclaim to you right now, the channel is not performing well enough to be able to have hype buttons. Sometimes you'll see it on some videos, but most of the time I don't qualify for hype buttons. But in case it's there, just go ahead and hit the hype anyway. Alright, so let's go ahead, let's begin. We have a long thing to do. I want to talk about the eclipse. That's the first thing that's on my mind. Then we're going to move into her part of the psychic tarot card reading. We're going to talk about her prediction, what she saw, and then we're going to do readings on it. Okay, so spiritual angels tell me, what can we expect around February the 16th and 17th? Apparently, it's also landing around the President Day as well, so that's more symbolic, if anything. What is happening around February 16th or 17th of February this year? What is happening for Donald Trump, the President of the United States? Well, actually, it should be the other way. That was on top. Anything else? Thank you. Alright, so these are the layouts. This is how the cards are stationed according to what the cards want. So the first card that came out was the North Node. And the North Node is facing the future. This is the future aspect. This is the past. Alright? And here you have is past lives, natural gifts, karmic challenges. We're talking about how February 16th and 17th is going to mark a very significant day where things for Donald Trump in terms of leadership start to massively shift into where it becomes very challenging as a president. It becomes very challenging as a leader. This is what this card means, right? This is the South Node, when things start to go south, ironically enough. The card that was underneath the South Node was also heading in the direction of the future, is action, momentum, and dedication. That may extend with the leadership thing that we're talking about in terms of whether or not he can lead, whether or not he's able and competent enough to be able to lead the country. This is fixed. It means action, momentum, and dedication. Does he have the dedication? Does he have the capability, the momentum to continue his quote-unquote legacy? Does he have his ability to be able to continue being on as president? Now, in this section here, which is in the far future, which means there's a gap period, so this could be around 2028, this could be 2027, could be something like that. We'll know in a minute, but okay, so we have Pluto. So Pluto is starting to peak for Donald Trump. We already know that. Donald Trump is co-aligned with the United States' Pluto return, which means that Donald Trump is emulating the energy of Pluto. And Pluto means to destroy and to collapse structures and stuff like that. Almost like they're a very rebellion planet. And Pluto is facing the past direction, which means he started a rebellion. He started this revolution in the United States for the conservative aspect. But here's the thing. That was only 25% completed. Donald Trump still has 75% more to go before his time is up. This is Pluto. It means regeneration, rebirth, transformation. So I don't necessarily think he's going to pass away on this day. If there was, there might be a health hiccup, but it's something that's going to challenge whether or not he's capable to leave, but it's not going to be something that takes him out entirely. The Pluto, it means that he still has work to do to destroy the country, to collapse it completely. If you think about the current structure of society in the United States, it is still somewhat functioning. You know, you're still going out on dates, you're going to restaurants, you're going shopping, you're going to the movies, you're still living life partially normal for most aspects of Americans in some capacity, depending on where you live. So in that case, you have to ask yourself, did the U.S. collapse where the institutions become so evident to everybody? And right now, we have a lot of people who are afraid to identify politically, and they become apolitical, which forces them into a box where I don't want to be associated. I don't want to have a freedom of thought. I don't want to be able to have to make a choice or a decision. It shouldn't be a very difficult choice, but for them, apparently, deciding between good and evil, that seems to be a very difficult case for them. The Pluto is just simply indicating there's a lot more work to do, whether that means that Donald Trump has time to do it, whether that, say for example, Donald Trump has to destroy this country to make it so evident to every single American that things are not going well. And that could be done within a short period of time, because look how fast the United States moved in terms of concentration camp, detention, murdering of people. You know, it took Hitler about 8 years to do this. Donald Trump managed to do it in 1 year. In 1 year, he's able to complete a lot of things. So time isn't necessarily relative to the past. So when we say Pluto return and 75% he still needs to do, you have to ask yourself is how fast is he going to go to complete the Pluto return? The faster he goes, the more likelihood he's no longer president. The slower he goes, the more likely he's president. That's what I'm seeing. And here you also have you have the full moon. The full moon is that almost the end of a cycle. And here you have a culmination, the release, the illumination. Again, we talked about how people aren't really aware that the country is in a state of deprival, in a state of upheaval right now. This is culmination, release, and illumination. So what really can we expect to start to really be indicative starting around February 16th and the 17th is the illumination for Americans to not be able to ignore the simple fact that the country is not going well, that things are about to get worse. And that is by design. That is by purpose. That is part of aligned with the sole contract of Donald Trump and the agreement with the United States. So, you know, it's supposed to be an illumination factor. If you see people around you who are apolitical, try to befriend them so you can kind of gauge where the country is overall. Are they waking up? Are they still asleep? That tells you where the country is nationally speaking. Where is the country? It's not about like those who are already engaged in politics and political activism. Yes, you can negate that a little bit to like Republicans leaving to the Democrats and Democrats leaving to the Republicans and vice versa. Yeah, you can understand that aspect. But the broader sense, this goes beyond politics now. It goes to people who refuse to believe that politics affect them and that if they ignore it, they cannot be a part of it and it won't affect them. But the truth is, it will affect them. And so when you start to see those people start to change, then you know Donald Trump is on his way out. That means that it is hitting them where it actually hurts. And here in the past, in the far, far past, which is why it's so separated and so off. And this is in the past, and it's faced in the past, it actually means lunar eclipse. And this means culmination, release, illumination. Ironically, Donald Trump, when we said before, when Donald Trump was born, he was born on an eclipse, right? And so it says here culmination, release, illumination. What did the last final card say here? Culmination, release, illumination. So, what does this mean? It means that Donald Trump, when he does pass it, it's not necessarily going to be on an eclipse. It's going to be around the time of a full moon, most likely. But the fact that it comes in at the end of his cycle, whereas at the beginning of his life, it also came up. This what you saw me do the cards. Like, this is not made up. As you can see here, that at the end of his life and at the beginning, it's the same story. But this time, he went into this world not causing as much problem. He leaves this world kicking the bucket on his way out. He's like that. How do I describe it? Let's say, for example, a boss who has a very highly aggressive employee that's nasty, nobody likes him at work, and they fire him. But he has a very aggressive tone, so he's going to start knocking things off the table, pushing things, destroying things on his way out. Donald Trump is that guy. Donald Trump is that Pluto. So the more he destroys, the more closer we get to the point where he is no longer president. Whether that means that he dies and it gets done that way and death does its job, or it means that his term ends, or that the people remove him, or Congress actually grows a spine and removes him. No matter how the story goes, the story is going to be similar. It's just in the context of how it runs. The top of the deck, however, let's go ahead, let's take a look. Okay, so we have Jupiter. So Jupiter is kind of like about to peak. So it means 24. So 24 peaks for Jupiter in 2024. That means that Donald Trump probably had Jupiter in his chart, probably gave him the edge in the electoral college. We have optimism, growth, and opportunity. That is about to peak. What does that mean? And we're talking about here, it falls on top of the deck. It's followed by the next card here, what is the triangle, which means auspicious, positivity, and luck, right? And apparently there's another card right behind it, and that is sextile, which means harmony, ease, and compatibility. So the fact that all these three cards come in and they're pretty relatively positive tells us that Donald Trump, as he starts to go out, starts to unify something, starts to create a positive aspect. Not whether for Donald Trump himself, but because there's so much negativity, naturally speaking, things start to become more balanced. Things start to move. So, for example, the way I can explain it is that look around the world, there are people, allies, or in countries who don't agree with Donald Trump suddenly start to merge together as allies. Even unthinkable allies, the unholy alliance, if you will. They come together under one unified enemy, and that is Donald Trump. Donald Trump, despite how negative he is, creates a unifying force, not for him, against him. And the bottom of that here is we have Venus, but it's either ending or it's about to begin, which means beauty, artistry, and love. It's reverse. So if you're wondering what is it that Donald Trump is supposed to destroy at the very core of the United States, what is he supposed to do? Is to destroy the love that Americans have for the nation, to destroy the image that the United States has built in terms of its propaganda tool to convince American people and even those around the world that the American dream is alive and well. Donald Trump is the nightmare for the American dream, but here's the thing. The American dream never existed. It never once existed. It was a nightmare to begin with. It just that happened to be that Donald Trump just became Freddy Krueger. That's all that it did. It just became relevant. It became prevalent in understanding that you were living in a Truman Show, a dream state like mine, where you truly believe in some form or some capacity that the American dream even existed. It didn't. It didn't, and that's what the cards show. And that's what the cards show. I'm going to see if there's any sort of national disaster that's going on that we can understand, because there seem to be challenges for Donald Trump's presidency and his leadership role. I want to understand what those challenges are so we can better describe them so that you can understand it. So spirits and angels tell me, we understand that there are some challenges to Donald Trump's leadership as president, starting in February, specifically around President Day, which is February the 17th. and into March, is there any natural disaster, any sort of event that's going to take place that challenges the president, whether it's his own health, whether it's death, whether it's, external, internal, what's going on here? Okay, so we do have some challenges in the future, and okay, so it's challenges here. The question is, what are those challenges? What's going on with Donald Trump in February and March? Anything that challenges his leadership? Okay, so we do have here a very upset Congress. It's almost like Congress is either shut down in February or March. And I did hear that, what's it call it? The Democrats made a deal with the Republican senators to not shut down the government as of when I'm recording this video. So they're not planning to shut down the government, but according to what I get in the cards, and it's been very consistent back in November when I told you guys the government's going to be shut down in February and March, and it's going to go into April. I see that here. I see a government shutdown. It looks like it's imminent. So there's definitely a government shutdown, that's for sure, because I don't see a functioning Congress at this point. We do have here on the top of the deck here, we have a lot of things that he needs to do. The question is, can he get them all done? This is the Eight of Pentacles, so a lot of things are happening. A lot of activities happen in the month of February and March, so keep an eye on that. The bottom of the deck is the Tower. The big events are happening in February and March. What are those events? We have the Magician. It's going to be caused by him. So whatever thing that he does back in 2025 is going to start to emerge in 2026 in the month of February and March, which makes a lot of sense because when you start to look at my readings here, specifically for the psychic channeling for 2026, the opening line literally tells you that whatever you put in the ground, whatever you put into your messages, into what is this? I didn't even know that was a thing. But whatever you put out into the universe, you will receive, in essence. So let me just see if I can find my second channeling for 2026. Where is it? No. Don't tell me it's gone. How is it missing? How did my book go missing? Oh my god. Like 4 books are missing. There's no way it's in this one, is it? I'm trying to find it, and my psychic channel is missing from the book. I specifically remember writing in this book. I even have a video on it. It's just gone. The last thing was, I was looking for the year 2026. It is here. I just saw 2025. I was like, oh, I didn't write it. Okay, I did write it. I'm so dumb. Okay. I'm red now. Okay, so you can see here, started channeling on December the 9th, 2025 at 9:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when it's about to start. And it says here, new worlds are upon us in 2026. Brace for even more fast-paced change. 2025 was the year of transition. But this new year is the year of transformation. This is the year of action, not the year of setup. Many things will speed up now. Make sure your seeds are well planted. What you sow is what you'll grow. You will need this seed over the next course of this decade. So that is the message for 2026. And it talked about how Donald Trump is going to, bring that up. And it says here, this one was channeled on December 31st, 2025. As I speak to you, it says here, for the one we stand, united, defiant against the oppression, in union of what can be, faith in a better world, better outcome. 2026 will not be that of appearance, but rather thrust in by the mere challenges you face. Hope to be instilled by the custom of our own will, to see it through to the end. 2026 will be enlightened some of us, but will darken many. What side would you choose? Would you choose faith or choose action? You cannot, and will not have both. Happy New Year, you made it to the year of great change. So I just feel that I felt change, and I feel like the words that were written down here, will you choose faith or will you choose action? I think the faith in this action had nothing to do coalescing around religion. It has everything to do with, do you have faith that the institution will hold? Or will you do something about it? Will you take action so that the institution's hold? I think that is what this is referring to. But there's that, of course. And then let's go back into the reading. We're talking about the eclipse and the leadership role and everything in that regard. We have the Five of Pentacles in reverse. So the Five of Pentacles in reverse is simply indicating that there is nobody leaving in essence. But here's the caveat. There is a lot of death. The reason why people aren't walking away necessarily because there is death around him. So I don't know exactly what this could mean. It could mean that people around Donald Trump die suspiciously. They could be murdered. They could be killed. It could be that, people who are in some capacity come across the Trump administration, whether that is through ICE agencies or stuff like that, that they could be killed. There are many ways that this could play out. This is the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups simply means that nobody escapes. So the best thing to do is to stay out of Trump's way because you will end up killed. And it seems like this is, and I'm not saying that, you can't be activism or anything like that. This feels more like it's related to, like, people who are involved with him, like, who he feels like is most likely to become disloyal, that he removed them. You know how, like, dictators like Stalin, for example, they murder people within their own government so that they maintain control and power. So there's any sort of thought of disloyalty, they remove the problem before it becomes a problem, essentially. That's kind of like what I'm getting in terms of vibe here. We have in this section a 2-2 card because we're asking about his leadership role and his position. We have the Death card, which means, for me, when it's upright, it means moving forward. It means a rebirth. It means moving ahead. This is in like a reverse position, but facing the past, which means that Donald Trump moving ahead is going to be stuck. So something about Donald Trump's leadership within the month of February and March, there is some sort of stagnation in his ability to move forward. There's something that stopped him from doing things. Something is moving, whether that is the resistance, whether that is people going out and protesting, whether that is activism, whether that is Congress, whether it's ability of be able to do things. Is it the possibility that it could be related to the government shutdown? There are many ways and many things that this could play out, and that does seem. It does appear that there is some sort of halt, something that stops Trump in his track in some capacity, in some form. And you do also have as well. Excuse me. You have the Page of Swords. And the Page of Swords means bravery. It means getting up and be able to fight. This is also heading in the direction of the past as well. What does this mean? It means that Donald Trump getting up and fighting doesn't look like he has the stamina, the energy to continue. It does feel like there is some sort of break in you, if you will. I mean, remember, we talked about how Donald Trump, starting to get towards the end of the chapter, which we can kind of expect that to be around 2027 more likely than anything, that the Page of Swords are just simply indicating to me specifically that he doesn't have the energy to continue as president. Does that mean that he's still going to be president? No. Does it mean that he will still be president? No. But does it mean that it's possible that Donald Trump could just stay on as somebody else become president, he just becomes the puppet? We already know that's kind of like where Donald Trump is anyway, but it'll become more evident, more open, more well known that somebody else is doing the job of Trump, and Trump is just the figurehead, if you will. It doesn't appear that Donald Trump has the energy. So definitely expect that, as we start to go into President's Day of February, that Donald Trump starts to age rapidly. He starts to become older, more frail. His health starts to become more noticeable. People start to question whether or not he can lead. There are challenges to his presidency. There's a lot of things here that I see that is dictating him, that are challenging whether or not he can continue forward with this type of momentum, continue forward with this type of movement. I do see that there is challenges to that. when we start to look at his leadership position and his ability to govern, and it will make sense because remember how we said there was some sort of halt, like something stopped moving. Well, we have the King of Wands, which is my conservative card. This has always been my conservative. This means like a vice president. This would be like J.D. Vance. This is my card for that. This also means neoconservative. This means like the Republicans in position to power, they're in control. That's why they're in a seat. And it's overlooking Congress. Now, this could mean that Donald Trump at some points in time, it could mean a couple of different things here. Because we have the King of Wands looking at the reverse Congress, which is just Four of Wands, it could mean a couple of things. The first thing it could mean that, well, I am in control, I am in power, I am the dictator, you listen to me, I don't listen to you. That type of narrative. It means that it could also be a government shutdown. That's the second one. The third one, it could simply mean that the disqualification or the dissolution of the midterms. It could be the dissolution of legislative branch altogether that is no longer functioning in the King of Wands. Because this card also is the King of Wands here, and just say it has a little bit more of a symbolic meaning, and just say it has something to do with the vice president, then in that instance, it would say maybe possibly the vice president become the acting president around February and March. So there are a couple ways that this can go, but I'm going to reiterate it again one more time. Either J.D. Vance becomes acting president between March and February, and that would be temporary. That Donald Trump says, I am the dictator, you listen to me, I don't listen to you. The dissolution of the legislative branch altogether, or the ending of the 2026 midterms. So there is a couple ways that this can go, and it also could be this, obviously, a government shutdown. So it could be all of them, it could just be one of them. But it does seem like that is the theme that I'm seeing in February and March. And as we start to head into the future aspect, we have the president, once he's represented by the emperor, the experienced leader. We know Donald Trump is an experienced leader in the aspect that he's been president before. This is the emperor, followed by the reverse empress card, which is normally the card for me that indicates the Statue of Liberty. This is the reverse. It means not liberty and justice for all. This also means the dissolution of women. So I do feel like around February and March, he's also going to be specifically honing in on attacking women in specifically. And then here we also have is the Page of Cups. This is determined. This is with certainty. This is kind of like payback for women. And actually, like this is more like a revenge tactic, where he's also very angry that women are coming out to speak out against him and all the things that he did to them. But also it's related to the simple fact that, well, Donald Trump holds grudges against a certain group of people simply because they vote against him more so in election than normal. And he holds a grudge against them specifically for that. Alright, so the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to talk about the psychic tarot card reading. Well, the psychic prediction from somebody on Blue Sky. Okay, so this is her her Blue Sky handle in case you guys want to go ahead and check it out. But this is what she said. She said, on February the 16th just happened to be President Day. And two, in astrology, eclipses are the beginning and endings of chapters, which we kind of saw that in the beginning. We had the eclipse in the beginning and not so much the eclipse at the end, but it did have the same wordings on the bottom. Guess who was born on the eclipse? Donald Trump. So this is what she wrote here. In August 2024, the universe said he will die in 18 months, which is February 2026. And that was all I heard at the time. Then October 25th, 2025, I hear on February 16, 2026, President Day, only to realize February 17, 2026, we have an eclipse. Trump was born on an eclipse. In astrology, eclipses are the beginning and ending of chapters. With this vision, I have another vision of a piece of paper being burnt from the inside out until it's completely disintegrated, which signifies out loud within. Oh my God, I can't even speak English. Okay, I have another vision of a piece of paper being burned from inside out until it's completely disintegrated, which signifies out with the old and in with the new. Vance being president would be the equivalent of a bug being flicked off a shoulder, as in, nobody's gonna give an F. Then, just last week, I find out that February the 20th, 2026, we have a conjunction at 0 degrees Aries, which is known as the world axis, aka the starting point of a new world. The last time this conjunction happened, the Berlin Wall fell. I also had a vision that in 2027 will be the first year of first peace, or the first year of peace. Not trying to give any kind of false hope, but simply state what I hear. I mean, his health is not doing so well. You kind of see that, because even in the beginning of the reading as well, it also indicated a lot of positive energy towards the end of that reading with the Jupiter card and all these other positive cards coming out. So it does indicate that there is some sort of positivity here. So I guess in some capacity, it does confirm her vision. It does confirm that prediction as well. It's pretty on the nose here. It's pretty interesting because remember we did just do the reading, blind reading, before I even read this. And it did come up with a vice presidential card, and it does possibly indicate that there was some sort of temporary takeover by Vice President Vance. And here they also go further with this, and they said eclipses are all about fate and aligning with destiny. He also got the curse of the Great Conjunction on his butt. That happens every 20 years, and whatever sitting president is in office at the time will either survive or die from assassination attempts. The last conjunction was December 2020, and his ear was fine, so that's all more interesting why I think my vision is on President Day. And Saturn and Jupiter, I believe, but if you look it up, it happened with Lincoln and with Kennedy, etc. I mean, he clearly wants to be like JFK. So, actually, that gave me chilled. Just had a coven meeting and learned that the eclipse on February 17th will be in Aquarius, which is the people's house, and will all be about the people. Will all be about the people. My bad. I'm gonna restart that. It says here, just had a coven meeting and learned that the eclipse on February 17th that will be in Aquarius will be all about the people and not the kings. Sound familiar? The sign of the king is Leo. Trump's rising sign is in Leo. In 2016, we had an eclipse in Leo and he became king. This feeds into what I can feel. Bye, Don. Aquarius and Leo are sister signs, so now we'll be on the reverse end of what happened in 2016. Don't make the rules, just relaying the information. So that seemed to be very interesting. And also on June 14, 1946, a total lunar eclipse occurred. Wait, wasn't that the same card that came out? Where is that card? I had a feeling that was the card that came out in the beginning of when Donald Trump was born. Let's see, where is that card? That would be wild if that's the card that came out. Like I said, this is mostly a blind reading. I just know the context of her telling me that he died. I just didn't read the information, so I'm reading it as I'm doing this. Okay, let's see. Where is that? A lunar eclipse. It wasn't a total lunar eclipse, but I don't think there's total in here. So yeah, it was a lunar eclipse, and he was born on a lunar eclipse. How crazy is that? An occurred visible from the night side of Earth from the total phase of totality lasted for 91 minutes and 9 seconds, while the entire eclipse, including partial and plenum phases, lasted for several hours. That is wild. Wild. Okay. So now that we understand the context here about her vision and stuff like that, let's go ahead and let's start doing a reading on it. What can we expect in terms of her psychic prediction if Donald Trump going to pass away? So spirits and angels tell me if Donald Trump going to pass away on President's Day, especially with everything I just read with that prediction and vision that the lady saw. We have the president. Okay. Okay. He can't make a choice anymore. Something changing. He cannot choose his fate. His fate will choose him. That's what I'm getting. He cannot choose his fate. His fate will choose him. So he cannot outrun death anymore. Okay, so actually, I don't know if you guys remember my Angel of Death video where I talked about, I communicate with the Angel of Death and my story with the Angel of Death and how it's a nice person. Really, really, really interesting. I'll put that link in the description below. But the Angel of Death just said hello to me. The last time I had that was when I channeled them. But normally when they come in and talk to me, normally indicates that when I'm talking about death or when I'm talking to a client about somebody who's going to pass away or when they did pass away. Doris, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Doris is one of my subscribers. I'm sure a lot of you guys know her by now. But alright, so hi. Okay, so I just got told by the angel of death. They said no, he's not going to die. Okay, can you please give me some context here? What this prediction or vision might have been? Okay, so I'm hearing the word ego. They're telling me that it's the death of his ego, not necessarily the death of the physical, but it's the death of his ego where he's unable and unable to realize that people actually don't worship him. That's what dies first. Okay, so they're telling me there's a couple of things to how this is going to play out. It's going to be that he realizes that his ego dies on this day where people, when he realizes people aren't really behind him and people actually don't care about him. Then they're saying that the angel of death is saying that he's going to get so mad and so angry that, okay, no one loves me. No one wants me. He becomes very irate, so angry, he starts doing some real damage. Kind of like what we said earlier. And then he just passes away. It just feels like he's going to become so angry, so hateful to anybody and everything, even his own supporters. Because he feels like he is lacking love. He's lacked that void. And so the thing that's going to die with him first is going to be the ego, where he realizes that there's nothing really here. That his ego, it's not the death of his ego where you put yourself first and put others and you're kind of in that limbo. It's where his ego, where he thrives on his ego. His ego is what makes him Donald Trump. When his ego dies, it's the first phase of death. You ever like go into like a hospice care sometime when somebody starts to smell like death? Or they start to be really hyper and really joyful, you kind of know that's the first sign of death. Donald Trump, for him, his first sign of death is anger. So expect that the more angry he gets, the closer we are to his death. But it doesn't look like it's going to be far off. So she was absolutely right in her determination, 100%. The question is that going to take place leading up to that day, or is it going to take place starting on that day? Because in the end, death is symbolic. It's not necessarily the death of the physical. It could be death beyond the physical. And so we have here is we have the Emperor card. And the Emperor card is the president, the person in power. And remember I heard the word, you cannot choose your fate. We choose your fate. Your fate is already predetermined. Here is the Seven of Cups. This is the ability to choose whatever desired outcome, whatever life path you want to go on. Donald Trump chose his path. But now his path is solidifying. His life is coming toward the end, which means that the closer we get to his life and towards the end of it, the more solidified it becomes. The fact that his study is already starting to solidify now tells me that Donald Trump is at the breaking end of his presidency. That I definitely do not see him in 2028. And I did a reading on this probably about 3 days ago, and it said he was not here in 2028. The middle card here is we have the Two of Pentacles here. We're asking whether or not he's going to pass away. The thing is that this is the Two of Pentacles. This means it could happen either way. It could either happen that whether someone makes the decision for him or he makes the decision for himself. Regardless of how it happened, Donald Trump is going to have to make a very difficult choice. A very difficult choice. Whether that means to let go of his ego and realize that no one actually supports him. So something big must have happened, whether it's publicly or behind the scene, that makes him feel like he's boxed in, make him feel like he doesn't have an ego anymore, that he can't be confident anymore. Something happened to Donald Trump personally that makes him feel in this very specific way. And the thing is, the Two of Pentacles simply indicate that somebody takes him out and he realized that he's not invincible. Possibly the ego aspect is the feeling like you're a god. And then you get shot, for example, and then you realize, oh, I wasn't invincible. I wasn't staged. And you go through that very quick stage of denialism and disbelief that you weren't a god, that you were just human, you were just like the rest of us. That's what the Two of Pentacles can mean. The Two of Pentacles means is that sudden realization. So there's many ways that this can go. He can get assassinated. He can be killed. He can get JFK'd. He can just die. His ego can die. There's many ways that this can go. But I think the prediction and the vision that she received was 100% accurate in this notion of how it moves. The story is so very much in flux how it goes, but the determination is Donald Trump dies in some capacity. An aspect of him passes away. Whether that is the physical or something that's internal is yet to be determined, but something is starting to die. There is a smell of death in the air. There are signs in the air that he's coming towards his end. And the fact that Vice President is coming in the card as the new president, that tells us everything we need to know. Here we have the Hierophant in reverse. This means the government. This is in the future card. We're asking whether or not he is able to hold on the power. Is he going to be president for long? This is the Hierophant. This tells me there's something here that basically makes him no longer powerful. Something happened with his ego that makes him vulnerable. When a guy is so scared, he becomes so irate, so vulnerable, he loses something. He loses the key. The key's on here, right? He loses the key. This is telling me that even if Donald Trump is president, and like I said earlier, even if Donald Trump is president, it's just a puppet. He doesn't have any power. After February the 16th or 17th, even if he's alive, he has no power. There's something that happened, whether it's external or internal, it's almost like a coup against Donald Trump. Someone is no longer running the ship. He is no longer running the ship. Somebody else is, and using his name as a cover-up if he is still president by that point. And here is the challenge to everything. We have here the Four of Pentacles. This means not able to hold on to power. Again, it's another card that indicates the loss of power. So I feel there's some sort of severe loss to his capability, whether that is his ability to communicate, whether that is his ability to connect to people. There is something here that is losing, whether that is his ability to convince people that he is a godlike structure. Maybe he doesn't need to be killed. Maybe his ability to appear as a god figure, disintegrates, it exonerates, and people see him for what he is. Remember, that is the ending of Pluto. That was the beginning of the video where we talked about Pluto and illumination and culmination and release. What needs to be released? It's the idea of, oh my God, I'm blinded. That's what it means. It means that those who were not engaged in politics anymore will become engaged. They will have no choice but to realize what's in front of them, what is going on. And that is the story. The story is Donald Trump breaks that illusion, that barrier. Whatever happens on February the 16th or 17th, whether he dies or not, it's not up for us to decide because fate is already determined. But what can be noted here consistently is that there is a smell of death in the air around Donald Trump. There is a smell of death, of an ending around his supporters and his people. This is a very quick ending. But just because it ends for Donald Trump doesn't mean the story ends there. It is still going to continue. And we have a bigger fight ahead of us, even when Donald Trump is out of the picture. And here's the other caveat. And let me just explain this as well. That we live in the age of AI. We live in the age of artificial intelligence. And look at the reading and what I studied already and how things go on. Is it theoretically possible that Donald Trump does, just say for example, he does pass it away? And all these figures that we see on these movies and screens, is all theatrics, right? What if AI is your president? What if artificial intelligence is your president? Now, I'm not saying artificial intelligence is ruling like ChatGPT is writing executive orders. No. But look at what the administration is doing with AI and technology. Why do you think they're rushing with, trying to get the resources from Greenland and the oil from Venezuela? Because maybe they know that Donald Trump's time is limited. They know that Donald Trump's time is limited. And what if they make videos of Donald Trump giving executive orders and speeches, but the guy's already dead, right? And it's not that he has a double body. They don't need a double body anymore. They just need to convince a whole group of people that AI is legitimate, that people can believe AI, that they can believe with their own eyes. Oh, no, that was Trump. Trump's alive still. Don't know how, but he's alive. But we can go beyond the physical anymore. We can go beyond. Donald Trump could be well dead and we don't even know it. Donald Trump obviously is alive right now, but I'm just saying that in the future, cut the cards the way they were and the way they were positioned, or how they described this, it's very possible that they could use the people or the power they're in that want to be able to keep Trump's image alive so that they can hold on to power, could simply just use artificial intelligence to do so. Look at some of the videos Donald Trump talked about and died. There are instances where he speaks very fluently and very well, and then there are videos where he just speaks very poorly and bad. But also, you look at some pictures, the pictures of his hand messed up, and the what's it called? The White House uses a lot of artificial intelligence. It is fully dependent on artificial intelligence. I wouldn't be surprised if they use it on a president to hold on to power, some sort of weird messed up agenda. Right? Just saying. Okay, we're almost done with the video, so I'm going to also see if I can do another reading on another tarot deck. We're going to use the Eclipse tarot deck. The Eclipse, because it is talking about the eclipse here, and she was talking about how he's born on the eclipse. We have an eclipse around this day. Let's see if we get extra information on this. So spirits and angels tell me about the prediction about, Donald Trump possibly passed away on President's Day during around the time of the eclipse and the Great Conjunction in February, between the time frame of February 16th to the 20th. There is no death card here, at least not yet. We have the Knight of Coins. This is grand opening. This is chiropractor. This means to break. What happens when you go to the chiropractor and things get so tense, when things start to get so tight, you sometimes need something to break the tension. Right? There's something here with tension. And on the top of the deck, we have is the employment services. It's reversed. It's the Two of Coins reversed. It simply means that there is some sort of unemployment here. There is some parts of out of a job. And here is the Four of Wands reverted to protesting. I do think that protesting and the continuation of protesters railing against Donald Trump and his regime, you want to know what it feels like? To me, it feels like that is working really well to the point where it's actually genuinely affecting his capability to lead. It's messing with his mind. It's messing with his psyche. So, good job, guys. Good job. It's messing with his psyche, and it's coming in a reading here that he is going crazy, and his ego, the death of his ego, is already starting to begin, and where he starts to feel like he actually is vulnerable and not invincible. He's getting to that realization now. And here, when we start to ask about whether he's dying or not, we have the Seven of Coins, which means empty cups, right? This is somebody who's taking orders, right? Seven of Coins. And the word taking orders, it sounds like to me that Donald Trump is taking orders. He's not delivering orders, he's taking orders as president. Remember I said puppet, right? We have here Gemini. Donald Trump is a Gemini here, which is 33. Right? This is two people from two different aspects, the masculine and the feminine, coming together under 33, which is the Gemini, which is around June, and is followed by the Wheel of Fortune. His job as president to just pump money. Just pump money to the rich, the wealthy. While the Democrats are just sitting here playing games, the Republicans are pumping and funneling money out of Congress and into their pockets. And here you have it's all funded by the billionaires. Right? Now, let's do the reading. Let's see a little bit more specifically. So that is the story. Now we understand why Donald Trump is in office in the beginning with. We already knew that, but this is just confirming that. So is Donald Trump going to die on President's Day or around President's Day this year in 2026? I don't see a death card here, so I'm going to say no. And the death card is here, but it's reversed, so it could be. Here we have the Queen of Coins. This means gold means stacked. It means to do something. This is the puppet. And here is this guy handing you a check. You say something, even if it's against your own values, and he pays you. So you're basically an actor. The top of the deck here is you have the Knight of Wands. It's almost completed, sir. It's almost completed. We're almost ready to launch. That's what the Knight of Wands means. It means that Donald Trump is at his wit's end. So yeah, I do think there is a lot of truth to this prediction. There's a lot of thing that we can talk about, but it does seem to really highlight that. It does seem to highlight that there's more to the story than meets the eye. And underneath the 7 of coins reversed, we have the 8 of coins reversed. And the 8 of coins reversed means the picture, the story. And here you have is he's not ready yet to go. He doesn't want to go. And look at this. This is the 10 of swords reversed. I mean, well, it's reversed in this instance, but it's the 10 of swords. And here you have is this person taking the oath of office. This was him. This is his presidency. We could have had a vice president, a monumental. Donald Trump became the second president in United States history to become a non-consecutive president. Only the second time it happened. The other one was Vice President Harris, where she became the first female black woman vice president of the United States. Donald Trump is afraid of this. And that's why it falls underneath the 7 of coins, which tells me in some way there is actually a reason why Donald Trump is taking orders, because his life is on the line. I do feel that if Donald Trump was to get killed or assassinated in some capacity, it's not going to be through protests or anything like that. It's going to be through the means of those he works for, where he is no longer considered a valuable asset and becomes more of a liability. That's when his life starts to become threatened. Think about what happened with JFK, right? JFK, talked about, if you think about the story of everything that happened to JFK with the system and everything like that, and then being against the FBI and the CIA, there's a lot of weird things going on about that. But if you look at the story here, there is some sort of threat to an action that JFK was trying to take that led to his demise. The similar faction is going to happen to Donald Trump, but it's when he no longer becomes an asset or when he becomes a liability. The question is when that happens, but it does look like Donald Trump is trying to do all the appeasement. So if you're wondering why Donald Trump is doing all these things and why everything's so well thought out, it's not him who's taking orders. We already knew that. That's pretty obvious. But the 8 of coins here is the reason why he's doing all this is because he's afraid that they're going to kill him. Here is Donald Trump is coming to the terminology and terms and getting comfortable with the idea of death. This is the Gemini card, 33. He's getting comfortable with death. Remember, how do we know this? How do we know that Donald Trump is getting comfortable with death? I mean, this is not a second prediction, but it's pretty obvious. Donald Trump talked about going to heaven. He talked about, I'm going to die in 10 years from now. I don't know what heaven's going to look like for me, etc. I want to be a good person. He says all these things. That is somebody who nobody would be saying that if they're not 100% sure if they're going to live. There's a lot of people who live up until 190, and I don't see them saying that. But him, he must have been told that he is dying. And that's why Donald Trump is saying what he's doing. That's why he's doing what he's doing. But Donald Trump is getting to the point now where he realizes that death is inevitable. And he's trying to get his mind and body ready for the inevitability. I don't even know how to say it, but you know what I'm saying. It's inevitable. And that, he could possibly do something that's going to piss them off. Whatever that he works for, wherever he works for, he's going to piss them off in some capacity. But he's going to do something. And here you have it, the death card in reverse. The death card in reverse, as you all know, when it's upright, it means a rebirth. It means a new cycle. This person is heading to this building and become something new. It's reversed for this specific reason, that is a complete other ending. So yeah, I do think that there's a possibility, there's a very strong possibility that Donald Trump could pass away, on around President Day. There is sentiment here. There is energy here. Here we have is the Wheel of Fortune. The Republicans are going to continue pumping money as much as they can. So he's still an asset in some way. So even though he does look like he has a chance of dying, I'm not saying it's certainty, because it doesn't look like it's going to be, because I said multiple times on the channel it's not going to be till after April. But it does look like there's a high probability. If the conditions are right and the energy and the movements are right on this day, he could pass away. But it doesn't look like it's likely. I would say that around this is like 45 to 37% chance. It's very low. It's a lot higher than it should be, but it is certainly on a lower spectrum. And then here you have is the Wheel of Fortune, which is here, which is pumping and funneling money. And here you have is Libra in reverse, with the people trying to fight for the ability to go against technology. This is reverse. This means right now the things are outweighing the balance. So there is disharmony here in Congress. So there does seem to be a balance here. So that's what I'm getting. Is there anything else, Spirit? We have the Knights of Swords. What's behind the Knights of Swords? we have here the Ace of Cups. If he doesn't come up with good ideas, he doesn't come up with momentum or energy, it could spell him and could end him. Because remember, we said before that Donald Trump doesn't look like he has the stamina or energy going forward. He looks like he ages like years. That's what it feels like. It feels like because he ages so much years, he has liability, and I don't think he's going to have the effective capabilities to lead long term. So I do think there is a lot of truth here, but I don't know if it's 100% physical death. It looks more like it's metaphysical. But you guys let me know in the comment section below what you guys think, what you see, and let me know. In the meantime, thank you all for watching. With the like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Until next time, I love you and peace out. Thanks for watching.